Good morning, everyone. Welcome. This is Joe Scarice, your host and founder of the Creative Birth Strategy House podcast and now up and coming Philly Realty 4-in-1 event. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in this morning. I want to thank, obviously, some people first, but we'll get started here in just a few minutes. Do some quick invites into some people to come in and hopefully get some strategy, some networking, some education, and feel free to raise your hand and come on up, and we'll get started here in just a couple of minutes. Just trying to get my thumbs going. I have to say, looking back, with Jordan Perkins, our social media strategist, and I'll thank our sponsors in a few minutes. We are the only house here in Clubhouse, one, that has national events throughout the country. Two, offers educational worksheets for their listeners. Three, offers CE accreditation courses for the licensed real estate agents. And then four, a live podcast with an opportunity to market yourself online via Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and now soon to come, hopefully in the next weekend or so, LinkedIn Live. We're really trying to push the lever here. We want to separate ourselves, obviously, from the other groups and organizations that are out there. Listen, they serve a purpose, but we want to serve a better purpose for our listeners and our audience, and hopefully provide opportunities. I'm constantly emailing out worksheets and having strategy discussions with our listeners every week, which I want to thank everybody. First, let's get started here with thanking our sponsors, of course. Initially, I want to thank Jordan Perkins of Perkatech, our social media strategist, as I call him, Oz behind the drape. He is one that puts all the strings together in getting us in order every weekend. And he helps us provide all the social media buckets and marketing for our podcast. And we're always constantly having deep discussions on what to bring to our audience. Two, I want to thank Realty 4-in-1, a national publication for real estate educators and services throughout the country. Linda Pelagas, she has been instrumental in, you know, me bringing a more of a national presence to our discussions. I've had the opportunities of working with her in LA, Dallas, Fort Lauderdale, Philadelphia, New York. We'll be back here in Philadelphia April 13th, which I just posted the opportunity for people to come and attend. Then we have Lendmark Capital, which is who I work for, which is an asset-based lender. We're a direct private lender. We work with brokers. We work with consumers, clients together, referral partners. We have a referral program. If anybody would like information on that as well, please reach out to me. I'd love to set you up as a referral partner with us at Lendmark Capital. And then we have MB Capital, which is our unsecured business line of credit service providers, which I'm a referral partner for. And we provide unsecured business lines for real estate professionals and investors throughout the country. So let's dive into our subject today. Low inventory market strategies for real estate investors. This can go a couple different directions. Um, and we'll try to take it a couple different directions, of course. But it's to a lot of people when you go to some of these events, real estate investor events. Oh, the inventory, the inventory, inventory. I just don't think personally, I think you need to align yourself with a new team then. If obviously you're not finding the inventory that you're supposed to be finding, you have the money, you have the credit, you have the power team of getting a job done. Obviously, whoever you're surrounding yourself with to identify inventory, it's not working. You gotta reshift here, okay? So, with the rates the way they are, the Fed's going to kind of stay status quo with the market for at least a good amount of months, probably at least till May, maybe June. Fed Powell did say that he's going to probably lower the Fed rate, but I really personally don't think that's going to impact rates in what we do from an investor perspective. I mean, the rates right now start at 6.75. Do you really think an eighth of a rate's going to make any difference in the decision making of an investor? I'm giving quotes out at 6.75, 6.875, and people are still not moving forward. So, what will it take? Okay. So again, is it about how you're buying? Like I had a discussion with a licensed realtor yesterday, and we had a great conversation. We had an in-depth conversation for about an hour and a half. they were thinking luxury. I'm thinking, hey, you don't have to go luxury to make money in this market. You could stay middle of the road C, B neighborhoods and still do very well and not get caught with your pants down. Well, I like the luxury. Listen, you can like whatever the hell you want. But at the end of the day, what's making you money, right? What inventory is out there that can make you money? I mean, I was sitting there like racking my brain saying, like, you want to do all this luxury stuff. You already just told me that your family and fortune was lost in luxury real estate. Like, why would you want to keep going back and pecking at that tree? I like that smaller, sleeker opportunities. I probably have used this analogy multiple times. The British Bulldogs versus the Spanish Armada. Who won that battle? The British Bulldogs, smaller, sleeker, in and out. The bigger, bulkier environment ships got their asses kicked. So you don't want to be in that big boat getting your ass kicked in the market. You want to stay under the radar. You want to stay. There has to be opportunities. I gave some suggestions because there's some markets I'm seeing that are doing very well, better than others. Well, I don't know if I really like that market. Well, you don't have to like the market. You have to like the idea of making money and surviving in the industry. Okay, you got to like the idea of, do the numbers work? Are people unrealistic to what they're doing here? Okay, the rates are going to be what they are. Okay, and what they're going to be almost irrelevant if you're not buying correctly, or if you're buying correctly, then the rates are looking really good. Okay, so you have to look at the nuances to what this market is. It's a tight market. Home buyer sentiment is an all-time low. Nobody wants to go out and they think rates are going to come back to 2 to 3%. Good luck with that. And for the realtors that think that, good luck with that. God bless you. Good luck. It's not going to happen. Okay. Your rates are going to fall somewhere between 6 and 7.5%, 6.5 and 7.5% for the next several years, whether you like it or not. Get over it. Okay. Now let's get back to work. And how do you identify opportunities in a tight market, right? One, you got to get your ass out. You can't be sitting behind a computer all day. That's obviously COVID changed the mindset of getting ourselves out and going. All right. That's one thing. Two, you got to get you to start surround. You got to have meetings with people. You got to develop an in-depth market knowledge to what you're doing here. Okay. You can't depend on others. You got to master pricing strategies, right? You got to understand your after repair value. You got to understand your repair costs. I don't care what the property is listed at. I care less. It's how I'm buying it, right? So it goes back to having market knowledge. Okay. And networking. Yes. Yes. There's a lot of younger individuals coming in, taking some videos, and they're landscaping their faces to look like they're 10 years old or whatever they're doing on Facebook or LinkedIn or TikTok and everything. But they're the ones out there spending money on wholesaling techniques. Okay. They're the ones that are out there spending money scraping the market of off-market deals. Whether you want to hang out with them or not, that's your prerogative. But what I'm saying is they're spending money. Find out where they're spending money. And I know Joe will have a brief discussion about this as well. See where the money is being spent on your list to go after these opportunities, these off-market opportunities, these distressed opportunities. They're right around. Listen, you go walk around any given block where you live, you could find probably a distressed property and knock on that door and say, hey, listen, would you like to sell your property? What's going on here? Your house is the shittiest house on the block. I mean, you don't have to say it like that, but I mean, let's be obvious. If you're in a neighborhood where things stand out, or things are not looking right comparatively to the rest of the properties in that market, right? And educating people. Like when you're out and talking with people, yeah, I put this funny analogy. Like when I'm out talking real estate, it's like pouring coffee forever. Listen, I have conversations with so many different people. And yeah, real estate leads into it, in one way or another. So like having discussions about what you do and who you are and your why with just people randomly while you're out and about networking, at events and things of that nature, that there's opportunities there. Expand your marketing efforts. Okay. Maybe it's like, to me, I just don't depend on where I live. I travel typically within 2 to 3 hours of where I reside and my offices are to network with others. I want to know the regional landscape of the market. And then I sometimes travel obviously nationally because I want to get a better flavor. Get onto some different sites where they're talking about national exposure. We're going to talk about some top wholesaling markets as of January, February of 2024. But you got to educate yourself with people. I mean, like, I look forward to going to this one event. I'm going out in Ohio in June because it's going to be 400 landlords in one room. Yeah, there'll be a little ego there. That's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm hanging out with 400 landlords looking to expand their knowledge base and the growth of their power team. That's who I want to hang out with. Expand your marketing efforts. Educate yourself. Why haven't you got those worksheets that I've provided to you to pencil your deals down better? Irony enough, the realtor I sat down with yesterday, she brought those worksheets with me. And I said, listen, this is how you should be buying your properties. Where's the DSCR worksheet? Because the Mayo worksheet works, the cash flow worksheet works, but you really need to understand that DSCR because you got to know that you have an exit strategy if the property does not sell. And you have to embrace this off-market opportunities. Embrace working with wholesalers. I could remember not too long ago, pre-COVID, realtors, I hate these wholesalers. They suck. They're scumbags. Now, that same person that was bitching and complaining on whatever Facebook page or whatever it was, she's arm in arm with wholesalers. What happened? I thought they were scumbags of the earth. What happened here? Like, do I have human amnesia or you're just nuts? Or just the whole market is crazy, right? You need to embrace the wholesale. You need to embrace the opportunity of building your power team with people that understand off-market deals, right? They're spending 10 times more money than you are. You cannot get into this business not spending money. I am very sorry to tell you that, okay? Whoever is telling you that, they are full of shit, okay? So you get all the people with the $100 bill sport jackets or whatever else they're wearing and whatever they're selling, they're just selling you shit because you have to have money to get into into deals and to get yourself out there and to market yourself. Why don't you have a personal website? Why haven't you talked to Jordan Perkins at Perkatech or somebody like him to set up a personal website? I have a personal website, josephscarice.com. Go check it out. I have a podcast website, creativebirdstrategies.com. Go check it out. You need to be believable. You need to have a brand. You need to have your own email. Why do you have a Gmail account if you're trying to brand yourself as a real estate professional? As you could see, my email, which is timeless, is joseph@josephvscarice.com. Why? Because I'm trying to brand myself as an educator and a network. I get calls all the time. Hey, do you have anybody that would like to buy these properties? So you start becoming that network when you're building up that list, expanding your marketing efforts, educating yourself and others around you. When you're teaching, you're also teaching yourself, right? And embracing the off-market opportunities with wholesalers, I think, is probably the most important piece of the low inventory market strategy for a real estate investor today. Be ready with your money. Know what you need to get into a deal. Stay adaptable and patient, and invest into professional development. Take courses that are going to sharpen your skills. No sell-a-thons, but educational strategy courses. Maybe personal development. Get yourself out of your own way. And always try to provide exceptional customer service to whoever you're working with. Now, again, I try to take every phone call, every email, every text, and I try to respond back within a specific amount of time. Okay? When somebody tells me that they can't get me on the phone, either they have the wrong phone number, or they're not really calling me, and they're just making up stories. And that's okay. That's for them themselves, because I know I return every call, every email, every text. Good, bad, or indifferent. I treat everything the same. Treat everything the same. Yeah, does that have anything to do with a low inventory market strategy? Yes. Communication 101. Marketing 101. Power team building 101. Be adaptable. Be the chameleon 101. Understand your market. Expand your market 101. Building a wholesale team is having the right mindset and preparing your company for growth. Hiring the right or retaining the right talented team members, very important. One, a good office assistant, maybe a VA could work, a good processor that understands how to process files, somebody that can help you market or direct, like a social media branding specialist, an acquisition specialist, that could be a wholesale, a selling specialist, somebody that understands the agency perspective, a licensed agent, a runner, somebody who's knocking on doors, knocking on all kinds of opportunities, because there's a lot of wholesalers that don't have money. Maybe you're the money person. And avoid a lot of the pitfalls in building that wholesale team. Do not expand before you're ready. Understand the markets that you're in. Do not expect immediate returns. Expansion takes time with new wholesale team members. Have patience. Invest in your business during the expansion phase. Right now, like Yordell and I are looking at how to expand the podcast correctly. We want to make sure our podcast is going correctly. We're not interested in interviewing people unless they are interested in us interviewing them. We're not chasing people down. We'd rather podcast a podcast till further notice. We like this. We like giving this 60 to 90-minute opportunity. So, you got to look at your business and what do you want to be at? Do you want to be at 15 properties? Do you want to wholesale a couple of properties and build up cash? Do you want to build up a team where you're seeing consistent rainfall of opportunities? Pick some of the good ones for yourself, split with the others, and then put out the rest of them to the farm to wholesale? What do you think wholesalers are doing now? Since asset-based lending works for wholesalers now, we don't need tax returns. Your competition is the wholesaler. You better either get in bed with one or become a damn good wholesaling team. Joseph, good morning and welcome. Thank you for your patience. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to a discussion this morning, low inventory market strategies for real estate investors.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Great topic as always. I don't know where you come up with them, but you come up with some pretty nifty topics.
I'm a nifty kind of guy.
What was that?
I'm a nifty kind of guy.
No, really good topic, and inventory was something that we were always talking about, especially when we were talking about last year. It was a big subject of that was discussed on almost every real estate investor platform about the inventory or lack thereof, and wholesalers really became the primary source of opportunity for investors, because they were finding the properties that the realtors weren't interested in listing, right? The hard to sell properties. So I think wholesalers were really thriving at that point, right? I think as the economy slows and things start happening where the inventory maybe rise, and also with this NAR lawsuit that's coming up, I think realtors may be more interested in taking the hard to sell properties and putting them on the market and doing the work and letting the listing sit a little bit. So that landscape may change. But you're right. The wholesalers are doing a lot more marketing than the realtors. And realtors for the last couple of years have had the opportunity to just sit back and let the listings come to them when they were open, right? So I mean, when you start talking about low inventory, and I just posted in the chat, Jeff had a good comment, right? Joe, my goal is one a year, right? That's my goal. I have a W-2 job that keeps me extremely busy. My goal is one property a year. I didn't buy anything last year because the numbers just didn't make sense. And I found all my properties on the MLS. And now I'm closing 2 properties back to back, which is unheard of for me, right? From one a year to now I'm closing in February, and then I went into contract in this month, and I'm closing on April 12th on my next rental. So, you have to analyze the properties. I mean, there's still deals that are out there, but it requires you to sit down and do the numbers on the properties every day. And not just on one property, but you have to look at a bunch, because rents are forever changing. right? And Section 8, as you mentioned in prior podcasts, is higher than the normal than the average rent that the regular person is paying who's not on housing, which is a rarity, right? Usually that was a lower rental market, and it just didn't make sense. Now it's the opposite, to where a renter is paying 17 to 1800 a month for a 2 bedroom in one area. Section 8 is now authorized up to $2,020 a month. So, it's going to come to the point where the regular folk just can't compete with the government, right? Because they're just limited to what their income is from their W-2s. So Section 8 may win the day. So that's kind of my observations. I mean, you have to have patience, and you can't force a deal. It's one thing that someone who told me, who's not even involved in real estate, and I was talking to him about this deal a couple of years ago. He goes, Joe, whatever you do, don't force it. If you force it, you're going to lose. And they were 100% right. And this is someone who's not involved in real estate at all. It's just an older, wiser person. And I think that goes for everything in life. But, that's my opinion on how this works, Joe.
So, Joe, you didn't bring up one thing, which was it's brilliant. You didn't make any discussion about what the current rates are at all.
No, the rates don't matter.
Right?
I have a mortgage on one of my rental properties at 7.8%. And I should be looking to refinance that, right? Because I could probably go down a point, but I have to look at, do the closing costs make sense? And if it's going to drop my payment by $50 a month, is it worth it to go through all that hassle and spend whatever it is in closing costs to redo title and all that other stuff? I mean, is it worth it? I mean, I don't understand why we're paying for title again when we own the property, refinance it. That's a whole nother thing. But is it worth it? So no, I have a property sitting at 7.8%. I have access to money on HELOCs at 10.49% and another HELOC at 7.75%, which I haven't used yet. But I'm not looking at the interest rate, right? I'm looking at, it's factoring in, right, Joe? It's factoring in. I'm using 8%. And I'm factoring it in, so the rate comes lower. It's nice, but if you look at a 0.5% increase or decrease, it's not that significant in your monthly payment, right? It's not that significant. What is it, Joe? $30? Maybe
it really isn't. It's really, in the grand scheme of things, 6.75 and 7% or 7.125 is not that much of a difference on a $150,000 loan amount.
Right, and if you're that tight in your numbers, the deal doesn't work.
Correct.
You should not be doing it to begin with.
Well, let's segue this a little more. I mean, I had a discussion with a licensed realtor, which we both know yesterday. It was a really great conversation. She really wanted to sit down just with me and her business partner, and really hit it off with the business partner as well. And she showed me all the properties that are on the MLS in this one market. I said, why aren't you making an offer on these all these properties look like they've been on the market for more than 90 days. It's a very tight market, right? There's a reason why those properties are on the market for 90 days. They're shit, or they're not priced correctly, or whatever the story is. I don't really care, okay? Why aren't you making an offer at 60 cents on the dollar on every one of these properties over and over again every 30 days while these properties are still on the market? Well, I don't know. It's called elbow grease, man. Get your shit going. And she's like, I lit her up. I'm like, you got to get out there. You have identified a market that could work for you based on your financial circumstances. You have other people that would probably invest in you if the deals make sense. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for a smack in the back of the head and somebody else doing it for you? Because nobody else is going to do it for you. Okay? There is still opportunities on the MLS as well as wholesalers. Now, the wholesalers, they're just throwing shit up on the wall and hope they stick, and they're keeping the good stuff for themselves because obviously asset-based lending is now working in their favor where they don't need tax returns to close on the deal. There's enough private money out there to justify them surviving and having their fake Rolexes and taking pictures in front of cars they don't own and airplanes they don't own, and stretching their face out on those those videos making themselves look like they're 3 years old and they're like 42. But whatever. Joe, we can't get away with that because we're just naturally good looking men. You know what I mean? So so knowing that we can't use our great looks for, great deals, is there still opportunities out there in just making lowball offers on MLS deals? Thoughts?
Absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't call it lowball. I call it reasonable, right? I mean, listen, as an investor, you're never going to be able to walk into a turnkey property that's going to be fit for a homeowner, right? You're never going to be able to compete with a homeowner. I don't care who you are. No one can compete with a homeowner because they're willing to pay more. They have the advantage of a 3% down payment, and they have the advantage to some of them now have what are they doing? That grant for first time home buyers, right? So
Yeah, but that's for stabilized properties. What about the properties that are blighted that don't meet those conditions?
yeah, you need to sit and wait. I mean, I can tell you that there's stupid investors out there, right? I just looked at a property today listed for 194,000, Joe. It's a 2-bedroom, 1 bath in Cyclaville. The going ARV is 130. 190 is what they're asking for 3 bedrooms, townhomes. They bought this place for 115,000 last year. I saw this place and I said, "There's no way that you could buy this for any more than 30 to 60,000." The house was destroyed. I mean, the front door was off its hinges. So someone broke in. They ripped all the copper pipes out. All the appliances were gone. The flooring was completely destroyed. There was holes in every wall. Um, it's obviously that there was squatters in there or whatever they were doing in there, at night or what have you. It needed easy, I would say $100,000 in work. They bought this for 115, and now we're trying to sell it for 192 when it's not even valued. Because I own a two bedroom in that same vicinity, and the value is about 130. They don't know what they're doing, and they were again. It goes into don't force a deal. Um, so yeah, there's opportunities that are out there. I just bought a condo that was listed for 130,000, and I picked it up for 100,000. That's because there was a tenant that was already in there paying below market rent.
Yeah.
And it was sitting on the market for 60 days. And I explained to the realtor, I use the seller's realtor. I explained to the realtor, I said, "There's no way that this place will be going for 130,000 when the tenant's only paying $800 a month. It doesn't make sense. Nobody can pick it up. And by the way, it's a Section 8 tenant that is renewed for another 12 months. So now you're asking an investor to take a hit every month in order to get it up to market rent, and they don't know if they could do that. So it just doesn't make sense. And I was able to get that place for $100,000.
Well,
So
what's interesting is I don't think there's the more experienced investor still is not fully aware of the asset-based lending versus traditional lending landscape and what it offers. I feel we're this spring market, Joe. I think it's going to be flat. Okay. I think we have some interesting job market issues depending on where you are throughout the country. Everything's kind of going toward the middle. I think appraisals are starting to level off because there's not as many sales. So you're seeing not a massive drop, but you're seeing a leveling of appraisal values, okay, or even a decrease in some of the urban versus suburban settings. You as an investor, whether it's here or somewhere else, you know, is this an opportunity of low inventory market in the favor of real estate investors finally this year?
I think it's going there. I mean, I think I haven't heard the term, marry the house, date the rate lately.
Yeah, thank
And I
God.
think that's because a lot of home buyers were being told, "Hey, they're going to lower rates next year, guaranteed." And there was a lot of talks about it. And what happened?
Nothing.
Oh, we're not lowering rates, right? You're lucky if you get 2 or 1 rate decrease this year by the Fed. The Fed saying that, right? So
Yeah.
I think the buyers are realizing, hey, the rate may go for a little bit longer than expected as a relationship. And you couple in with the job losses and the softening. But I also think there's more to come, right? Because we are a debt-based society, right? Our dollar is based on the debt that's rolled. You start looking at what's going on in commercial real estate, and you start seeing the banks will start tapering off their lending. And when they stop lending, that's when it becomes a problem. And it doesn't matter what the inventory is, Joe. It's about the banks are tightening up the lending. That means there's no money in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's no money for people to get, that means the houses can't sell. So I don't care what the inventory is, that whole story, right? I'm not chasing it, but I'm also not concerned about the inventory because eventually that lending is going to dry up. Yeah. Because the banks are hurting. What do they say? 300 banks are going to possibly go out of business this year?
Yeah, I put that. I just posted on. If you're not following me or connected with me on LinkedIn, why you're not, I don't know. But on LinkedIn, I just posted that article, Joe. 300 banks are in trouble. 300, not 300 banks are in trouble, and nobody's paying attention.
Exactly. So that eventually is going to put a hurting on the lending. I don't care how much incentives there are from the government. When the banks don't have the money, there's no money there. They can't lend it, right? And then they put that 30% requirement on the banks when they had 0%. So they had 30%, what do they call reserve requirement on the banks when they went to 0.
Yep.
That started, I think, March 11th. So, the banks are going to have to stop lending to build those reserves up.
Yeah, and how will that impact the inventory? Yeah, that'll impact inventory in the favor of the investor because the home buyer will not be able to stretch out more money to overpay for a piece of real estate now, with values decreasing in most markets, East and West Coast. The Midwest and Southwest are staying okay, but in time, that commercial office retail impact will throw that same monkey wrench into the Midwest and Southwest as well. That's some thoughts. Yeah. So again, there is no such thing as a low inventory market strategy. It's a matter of you getting your ass out on the streets and identifying opportunities and teaming up with people. My goal every week is to meet a couple hundred people a week in person, live. I love the live environment. I'm at a different event Monday through Friday, networking with people, following up with people, connecting with people on LinkedIn. People follow me on Facebook too, and that's fine. Instagram is cool too. We do the podcast. So I'm constantly pecking at the opportunity of finding out where the inventory is. My clients are doing just fine. Maybe they get outbidded here, outbidded there. Maybe the deal didn't work out. But I'm submitting somewhere between, I don't know, 20 to 25 deals a week, for loan scenarios for submissions. And I'm also submitting about 20 to 25 refis or restructuring a bridge on other loans a week. So that's about 30 to 40 deals a week. And nothing's changed. It's just more the savvier investor. The people that are talking a great game, I don't see them calling me for anything because I think they'd rather stay a legend in their own mind on Facebook or whatever they do and whoever they work with. God bless. I want to work with seriously engaged people. Okay. People that understand numbers. What are you buying at? What's the repair cost? What's the after repair value? What's that market look like? Do you know what the rental marketability of that market is? Is it decreasing? Is it a bad neighbor? Is it a good neighborhood? What's the condition of the property? What's the condition of the tenant? These are deeper discussions you need to have. The banks are not stepping up. This is an opportunity for the investor to take advantage of a market, not a low inventory market, not a bad inventory market, an opportunity for a market for you to justify getting in. Good morning, Melissa. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, low inventory market strategies for real estate investors.
Hey, good morning, Joe. Thank you so much for having me up. I am Melissa King. I am owner-operator of One Last Eye LLC, virtual assistant here in Michigan, a realty, bookkeeping, and admin professional. I'm also a licensed referral agent here in Michigan, as well as a notary. To today's discussion, I came out of banking. I completely agree with you, both Joes, this morning. Interest rates don't mean a damn thing. I can't believe they went as low as they did. So what you do is you need to know your numbers. Absolutely. There's always opportunity costs out there. Just dig in, see what you need to do, follow what the guys here are telling you. Number one big thing I would say is surround yourself with other investors and let them know you're looking. I just got a deal this week from one of my clients. She's looking to get rid of one of her properties. My husband and I were there yesterday. So very excited to get into my first rental property. I've got in our real estate investor group here, there's a young gal. She started out doing commercial cleaning. She found a market that she liked in this area. She started looking for distressed assets. She identified certain homes. She started sending handwritten notes to them with her own personal number. They called her. She continues to farm this area. 5 years later, she did her own single family home. She's flipped a couple houses. She's doing very well. The other thing is, go to your local RIA meetings. I can't stress that enough. There are a lot of real estate agents there right now who are doing wholesaling deals themselves. That's how they're getting it done. And last but not least, please have patience, network, figure out your market, do it in person, not just online. I can't say how important that is. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Melissa. Well, what I hear, between certain conversation there is educate yourself. There's nothing wrong with becoming licensed in a bunch of different things to get yourself educated and look at things from the inside out. I've been a licensed realtor since '88. I've been a licensed banker since '01. Been a title agent license, I don't know, since '05. I have a driver's license. I like all of them. I don't want to lose any of them, but it gives me accessibility, and I feel a balance to understanding my market or understanding others' markets, and allowing me to understand housing market trends, and also to build a marketing strategy and how to help me map out my investment plan, right? And surrounding myself with other licensed professionals such as attorneys and CPAs and bookkeeping services and home inspectors. These are all referral based opportunities. And this allows me to create my diverse buyers list and sellers list. Okay. This allows me to find the right sellers, people that understand that they have to get rid of the property. It kind of avoids the unrealistic, uneducated real estate agents that are out there that are listing some of this inventory. And it allows you to network and find properties and view listing opportunities and perform your due diligence, and allows you to understand how to put together purchase and sales agreements and things of that nature. So getting licensed in this market, I don't know enough about the NAR settlement to just tell me. All it's telling me is it's gonna help the better educated real estate professional do much better than the uneducated. I think that's a good thing. I think you need a cleansing of all these industries anyway. You need a massive reset. So I think it's a great thing, actually. Anytime that there's a lawsuit cleaning up shit, I think it's a good thing, actually. Good morning, Justin. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, low inventory market strategies for real estate investors.
Yeah, good morning, Joe. Good morning, everybody. Really stuff morning. I like to lean in on really making sure your knowledge base is accurate. One of the things you guys were talking about is how poorly people were underwriting deals, so on and so forth. And you also mentioned how some banks were having issues. Well, one of the examples I think I brought up a couple of weeks ago is I have a friend, and one of his strategies right now is buying, older houses in the hood or what have you, and doing everything all cash. And he's telling me that he's willing to do this because of the appraisal that he's getting. It's subject to appraisal. However, right, this I don't believe in the values that the bank is presenting. They're presenting values of 140 and 150 and 160 in neighborhoods that in my decade of being licensed plus, never have gone over $100,000. And so sometimes, right, even the professionals, right, other professionals need to be checked. So you need to know enough about the risk that you're taking. You need to, find your way to navigate in this industry. So this thing is big on navigation as far as being a successful real estate entrepreneur. You've heard both Joseph, Mr. Martella specifically, talking about all the pivots that he did. Talk about why he made the conscious decision not to buy last year, but this year it turned out that he ran across opportunities back to back. So there are a bunch of things that we can learn from that, right? And as far as finding properties off the market or working with wholesalers, I really feel like it goes back to educating yourself once again, because all the wholesalers are doing is they've committed to one strategy or two strategies, right? And those strategies is what they decided to go into business doing. Those strategies are open and available for everybody. I've done a number of wholesale deals. I do not consider myself a wholesaler because I do not run a wholesale business like a business. But if there's an opportunity, I am known to be really good at going target properties for people in my city. So, those are my thoughts. They're great people to work with. But look, I give you a tool. You can come to my house, man. I got tools everywhere. But you're gonna need to know how to use the tool in your daily life, though. So I think educating yourself on the ways to use your lender, on the ways to use your wholesaler, your realtor, based on where you're trying to go and what you're trying to build for yourself. And so that's just my thoughts this morning on, working with off-market people and working with wholesalers and stuff like that in the market.
I'm going to name a couple strategies that you need to think about for low inventory market strategies that tie into what Justin was saying. Referrals are still the name of the game. The first one that gets face-to-face wins. And mind the loyalty gap of your relationships. And that leads into Mr. David Hill. Good morning and welcome. Brief overview of who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, low inventory market strategies for real estate investors.
Hey, good morning, Joseph. Good to see you, man. I haven't been on here in a while, man. I saw your room and popped in, so thanks for inviting me up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, brother.
I'll be in Boston, by the way, April 2nd, April 3rd, by the way, if you're up in the area there.
Oh, hey. Yeah, let's go. Message me. Let's connect. I sent you a back channel message on what's it called, Instagram.
Yep. Yeah. That's definitely connect. Because I don't understand that space, and you could help me with that a little bit with Yordell and myself. So absolutely. But go right ahead. A little brief over who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion.
So I help real estate agents find. I help real estate agents who kind of struggle to find motivated sellers. I help them find motivated sellers, connect with them, follow up, ultimately close more sales. A lot of what we do is outbound. So I think, we have some investors. Most of my clients are real estate agents, but we have some investors that, come to us because they want to call, for sale by owners. They want to learn expired sellers, we're going into neighborhoods and circle prospecting neighborhoods. So what we do that's a little unique is we help people with word tracks, like what to say, how to say it, why to say it, what to send, things like that, to just help them become more effective than the average person. I mean, I probably get a call every day, Joseph, from someone from the Philippines. This is me, and I'm a 21-year real estate broker, right? I get people calling me asking me if I want to sell my house. It's ridiculous. People from Philippines. Nothing against people from Philippines. I have VAs from Philippines, but broken language, asking me if I want an offer on my house. It's just not effective, right? We can do a lot better than that. It's really what I help people with, and get out there, find motivated people, and then that's how you can grow your business. And right now, one of the biggest challenges is finding motivated people, because as you guys were talking about, rates are high, inventory is low, but there's people out there. You know, you just gotta, when you get someone on the line, or even if you door knock someone, you got to be compelling, and that's what it's all about. So that's what I do, Joseph. Thank you.
Thanks, David. And I'll be reaching out to you. But you made a very good comment. The prospect hold expireds is still the tried and true strategy that has worked for decades, right? You got to understand boomer migration is on as well. Like, where are people migrating to for a better standard of living and living below their means instead of over their means? And then understanding the remote work environment, like understanding where that is and how that will impact your rental bottom line or your sales or the opportunities where people need to move out of necessity, because don't people are not moving otherwise. Why would you leave a 2.5% rate on a 15-year mortgage unless you had to leave or you died? Somebody then is leaving on either way, right, when they pass. So you got to think about a lot of these reasons and strategies to low inventory market opportunities and tips. Darren, good morning and welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and love to get an update to what's going on down in Philly with your construction opportunities that we got introduced on. Love to get a little update of what's going on with you and those properties as well. Darren, are you there? We lost Darren, but we'll try to get him back. I don't know where he went. He disappeared on me there. All right. We'll go to Ellis. Ellis, good morning, and thank you for your patience. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning. Low inventory market strategies for real estate investors.
Oh, thank you for bringing me up, Joseph. My name is Ellis San Jose. I'm a full-time investor based in Southern California. I've been doing this for about 3 decades now. I'm also licensed as well. I've been a broker for about 15 years now. I've always bought stuff off market. My specialty, my specific niche is I identify properties that have title issues and have missing owners, so that I've never really had a problem of competition. Really, there's not a lot of people that go after that specific niche, and it's very lucrative if you know how to solve problems at an area. But I also teach creative marketing and creative acquisition strategies to investors, and I talk to agents a lot and their frustrations, and going after the expireds and the for sale by owners. Yeah, sure, that's been around forever, but there's so many other niches that agents just don't expose themselves to all the possible creative niches that you can go out there and bringing a skill set to solve those problems. And that really sets you apart from everybody else that's doing the same thing. You kind of have to zig when people zag. You really got to figure out ways where there isn't a big crowd going after the same thing, because there's a ton of people calling the expires. There's a ton of people calling the for sale by owners, but there's rarely a person that calls somebody that has a title issue, that has code enforcement issues, along with delinquent property taxes, along with something that's caught in litigation. So please spend time to really understand all the available niches and then develop the skill set to those niches. And trust me, you will stand out. You will be that person, the go-to person in that niche, and people will call you. I get referrals from attorneys all the time. And it's a worthy journey to develop a niche skill set so that people are seeking you out instead of the other way around. I remember when I was getting burned out decades ago, and I was like, God, I got to do something different, because I cannot be like everybody else. I've got to really prove to the marketplace that I'm actually very unique, and there's not a lot of people that can solve the problem. So that's kind of my 2 cents on the matter. But great topic.
Thank you, Ellis. And you know what, being that go-to person, that strategist, being that individual when you walk in the room, you're the host either way or hostess either way, even though you're not hosting the event. You need to that's something earned. That's not something that you could just get right away. Okay, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of elbow grease in whatever you're doing and specializing in, but also working it through too. Like Ellis works on he goes after the complicated, goes after the hairy deals. Okay, if everything was so easy, we'd all be zillionaires, right? This industry is not easy. We're all coming up with something new to prospect, right? Something that it was lightly brought up. Why aren't you prospecting rental expires. Why aren't you going after the for rents? If it's for rent, it's for sale. That means it's empty. I'll come back to David real quick. Your brief thoughts to the discussion before we keep moving forward. Go ahead, David.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, I loved what Ellis just talked about, because there's out there in that space, that distressed space. We used to do it a long time ago. I just wanted to make a point, when it comes to for sale by owners and expireds. I think what you'll hear is a lot of trainers or people kind of group them together and they're not the same. That's the thing. You got two complete different psychologies with as expired. They had a home on the market. They're discouraged a lot of times. They're frustrated that it didn't sell. They've given up. That's a completely different conversation than somebody who was trying to sell a home themselves because they don't want to pay a commission in those cases. So if you think about martial arts, the difference between a white belt and a black belt. Does anybody know the difference between a white belt and a black belt?
No.
It's kind of there really is no difference. The difference is just the amount of time, the amount of practice they put in. The moves are essentially the same. Just so the reason I hear that is because I think when we say, there are a lot of people that call expires and FISBOs that listen to most of the calls. Like I would welcome anybody to jump on a call, and I will make live calls and let you hear what it sounds like to call, as opposed to other people that are could use the exact same script, and it's gonna sound completely different. It's gonna be a different experience for the seller. Why? Because of the experience. So I would just say it's not just about making a call, but it's about what do you bring to it? What level of mastery do you have? What the questions, the pauses, the way you listen, right? All the little details. So it's more than just making calls, and to me that's the art. So I just don't want us to underestimate the art that it takes to get really, really good at this. So that's what I do, Joseph. Just to let people know. So I think to me it's more than just, hey, let's go call some FISBOs and expireds. But there's an art form there, brother.
Yeah, David, I agree with you.
Back to you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, listen, to make the phone ring inbound is a very unique art. Okay, making phone calls out, that's anybody can do that. I could hire people to do that. To make the phone ring coming in is an art form. That's where you separate yourself from the white belt to the black belt. Okay, is the inbound lead generation and the skills there to create those beating of those drums. And that leads into our next introduction, because I was out in Long Island because I was coming.
I can't just talk to anybody can do that, because that's the point. Not anybody can do
No,
that.
I know.
And that's the challenge. When you say anybody can do it, anybody can pick up the phone, but it's not effective, Joseph. That's
No, I know.
I mean, if you listen to people making calls, we get calls all the time. But I do agree with it. If you can figure out how to get people calling you, that's the next level.
Yeah, well, you got to create. You got to understand. Yeah, the art form of creating breadcrumb for the pigeons to come and flock in your playground is a unique opportunity. And again, it's about providing outbound education, outbound motivation, outbound inspiration, and then also an outbound opportunity of bringing people together in a network. It's a very unique opportunity. If you watch my marketing and how I market, it's a very consistent theme of that every single effing day. Every single day. We are a 24-hour diner of opportunity in real estate. And that leads into somebody I hadn't seen in a few minutes. I was out in Long Island coming back from Connecticut from one of my meetings. Got the opportunity to see the young lady at an event down in Farmingdale, New York, Miss Sarah Morales. Good morning and welcome. Great to see you this past week. And I invited her and everybody else at that event to one of my events Tuesday night in Midtown Manhattan. at the Monarch Rooftop. So if anybody's in New York, want to come by Monarch Rooftop Tuesday night, 6:30, we're going to be having an event of real estate networking, education, and strategy. Sarah, good morning. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to a discussion, low inventory market strategies for real estate investors.
Good morning, Joe. Always a pleasure seeing you. Sarah here from Long Island, New York. I am an interior designer, project manager, and real estate developer. So I'm on my throat, so scratchy. I am here to listen and be educated. I am not a realtor, but it does sound like hard work and perseverance matters in the industry as well as martial arts and as well as my design firm. So it sounds like just keep doing it. Expertise and perseverance will pay off. So I'm just here to listen. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Sarah. Hope to see you Tuesday night in Midtown Manhattan. We'll lead real quick into the best cities to wholesale real estate right now. Okay, so this ties into, is there good inventory markets? Now, again, this is, everybody's opinion. These are based on certain discretionary numbers. But these are just some areas that are hot right now for off-market deals. Houston, Texas, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Rochester, New York. I really agree with Rochester, New York. Atlanta, Georgia, Denver, Colorado. It's a little funky. I'm not a big fan of the inner city. I'm more of a fan of that 15-mile stretch between the airport and city proper. Jacksonville, Florida, which I like. Miami, Florida, Phoenix, Arizona, Tampa, Florida, a little tight. Indianapolis, Indiana, it's a little rough, but I like it. Orlando, Florida, San Antonio, Texas, Charleston, South Carolina. I like that market a lot. Memphis, Tennessee, you could be scared for your life, but there's an opportunity there, but it's pretty hoodie, but it's tough, but it could be an opportunity. Colorado Springs, Colorado, and Grand Rapids, Michigan are the top 17 best cities in off-market deals currently in the country. Some of them I agree with them. Some of them I my eyes squint, but hey, everybody has a different palate. Ant on potato. Good morning, Linda. Welcome. Brief overview, who you are, what you do, and thoughts to our discussion this morning, low inventory market strategies for real estate investors. And let's get an update to Realty 411 Investor Summit in Philadelphia.
Good morning, Joseph. Good morning, Clubhouse investors. My name is Linda Pliagas, and I'm the founder of Realty411.com. I'm also a licensed real estate agent in the state of California. In Realty 411, we are a news and information website for real estate investors, and we produce magazines, virtual events, live events, and podcasts, all in an effort to help investors in their journey. As Joseph mentioned, we are hosting an event in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on April the 13th. We're really excited to reconnect with all the investors we met last time, and we're excited to meet new investors as well. We hope that everyone on this call can join us on April the 13th in Philadelphia at the Mummers Museum. You can click on the link that Joseph provided here on Clubhouse on top. Now, this is a great topic because right now we are seeing low inventory in many markets across the country. And here are a few suggestions to help investors locate properties in skid market. Number one, look for properties every single day. Now, when I'm on the prowl to add a new property to our portfolio, I'm searching daily on the MLS. If you don't have access to your local MLS, then you can search websites like redfin.com, which is excellent because they have a multifamily search button as well. Or there's homes.com, Zillow.com, and realtor.com. Now, you don't have to search all of them. I personally like redfin.com because, as I mentioned, it has a filter so that you can search for multifamily properties, not just single family homes. Number two, tell everyone that you know that you're looking for a new acquisition. You should call all your realtor and broker friends and associates to ask them if they have an off-market property or a property that's coming on the market soon that may be suitable for you. Now, everyone will want to work with you and make you sign an exclusive agreement to work with them. Let them know that you're still looking and you want the flexibility to work with the listing agent of the property you want to buy. You want that flexibility and freedom. So don't sign an exclusive agreement. That way you're not bound to one single agent who may not be that motivated to look for you every single day. And also, I like the flexibility of working with the listing agent of a potential property that I like. They're going to bat for you and present the offer, much more seriously and probably faster because they are financially motivated in the deal. They're going to be making 2 commissions, not just one. And when there's a really tight market and there's a lot of investors looking at the same property, that's a technique that I use. I like to work with the listing agent, and hopefully they'll be a lot more flexible in choosing my offer. Now, also be flexible in your quest. Before I moved to Santa Barbara, my family and I only wanted to buy fourplexes. We owned 6 4-unit properties at one point in 5 different states because we only wanted to buy 4-unit properties. Now, after we moved to this area, excuse me, we discovered that there is a severe lack of multifamily properties available. And now we're living 6 hours away from LAX. The airport isn't around the corner like it used to be anymore. So now we added other types of properties into our portfolio. Because of the lack of inventory, we took a risk and started buying single family homes, PUDs, which are planned urban developments, townhomes, and condos. Now we are much better diversified. And I also found out that tenants actually pay more when they're renting condos and townhouses than when they're renting apartments. So it actually worked out really well. Also, when you own condos, townhouses, single family homes in the state of California, you're not bound by rent controls, and a lot of the stringent criteria that's involved with rental properties. And when you're in multifamily properties, you are bound by rent control. So I'm really happy that we actually started diversifying and buying other properties and not just multifamily properties, because now we can avoid a lot of the rules that are associated with rent control in California. Back to you, Joseph.
Thanks, Linda. I really look forward to the opportunity of collaborating with you year 2 here, in Philadelphia. I think we're going to have either near equivalent of the attendance or better. But I think the way that we're having it at the Mummer Museum is going to be so much better than at the hotel. We have breakfast, we have lunch, we're going to have like music. We'll have everything all set up there where it'll be just about us and the attendees, which I think will be a lot of fun. And I really look forward to it again. Some final thoughts to our discussion. Really, where is the opportunity in the low inventory market strategy with economic uncertainty? Okay. You got to understand some things here. Negotiating real estate deals and understanding economic uncertainty requires a combination of strategic planning, flexibility, and understanding market dynamics, research market trends, understanding the motivation of the buyer or the seller, setting realistic goals with yourself and your team, building rapport and trust, exploring creative solutions, emphasizing value propositions, negotiating terms and conditions, staying flexible, creating a professional circle of power team players in your world, understanding documents, and implementing these strategies, can navigate effectively during times of economic uncertainty. Joseph, your final thoughts to our discussion this morning, low inventory market strategies for real estate investors.
Joe, what an amazing room. And I think, anybody listen has something to walk away with here. I'm going to stick with what I said initially, right? Don't force a deal. Just sit out there. And Joe, we all talk about rich dad, poor dad. And one thing that you said to that realtor, which is the basics, right? If you see 10 properties, make an offer on all 10. Why just make an offer on one, right? So, great room. Really do appreciate it. Good topic.
Thank you, Joseph. David, your final thoughts to our discussion this morning. Low inventory. We just lost David, but I'll be following up with David. David came up with an idea that I like, so I'll be reaching out to him. Thank you, David, for coming in the room for a few minutes. Melissa, your final thoughts to low inventory market strategies for real estate investors.
Same thing I said. Have patience, network, and do some marketing in person. Get out from behind that desk.
Thank you, Melissa. Listen, we try to provide something a little different here in this club. I think we've always been a little different. We provide education, strategy, and opportunities. We provide worksheets for you to be a better educated borrower. We provide you a CE course if you would like me to come out and teach CE to your licensed agents in either your investor group or your RIA. It's complimentary, and we provide accreditation in the asset-based lending space. We now offer national events through Realty 411, one of our key sponsors with Linda Pelagas in LA, Dallas, Fort Lauderdale, New York, Philadelphia, Denver. She's touching all the areas throughout the country, meeting and greeting real estate professionals throughout the country. And we have the opportunity to collaborate with her in Philadelphia yet again. And we have a podcast here with our sponsors. We have Realty 411, we have MB Capital, we have Perkatech, we have Landmark Capital, with Jordan Perkins, our social media strategist. Have a strategy discussion with Yardell. He puts all this together. He is truly the odds behind the drape and orchestrating a lot of this. He doesn't like to take a lot of the credit, but I like to provide him a lot of the credit because we're here consistently. We're going to look at new ventures with other individuals in other social media buckets. We're constantly pushing the lever. And that's what you got to do in this type of market. There is no such thing as a bad market. It's a great market. It's a great opportunity, no matter how you look at it. I want to thank everybody for their engagement this morning and their involvement, their comments on the chat. Of course, we'll be back here on Saturday morning, 8 a.m. next Saturday, and Sunday morning next Sunday at 9:38 a.m. with two new subjects. So we constantly are bringing new subjects to the front line to our investors and our real estate professionals. And I always love to finish the room off with a quote: allow yourself to be a beginner. No one starts off being excellent. I want to thank everybody, and I'll be ending the room in the next 30 seconds. And thank you.